After looking at Sarah's work samples and interview responses, you were asked to decide which key understandings in number the teacher needs to focus on to improve Sarah's number sense. Let's talk about why each key understanding would or would not be an appropriate next step to focus on. Key understanding 1. We can count a collection to find out how many are in it. Key understanding 1 focuses on the counting principles and not rote counting. These tasks don't assess Sarah's ability to count collections of objects. This would not be an appropriate key understanding to focus on. Key understanding 2, we can often see how many are in a collection just by looking and also by thinking of it in parts. Key understanding 2 focuses on subitizing and composing and decomposing numbers. The interviewer did not ask questions that required Sarah to subitize or compose and decompose numbers. Sarah used some decomposition of numbers, but you would need to infer too much to assess her understanding of this at this point. This also would not be an appropriate key understanding to focus on. Key understanding 3. We can use numbers in ways that do not refer to quantity. Key understanding 3 focuses on ordinal numbers. These tasks do not address Sarah's understanding of ordinal numbers. This key understanding would not be an appropriate place to focus instruction. Key understanding 4. The whole numbers are in a particular order, and there are patterns in the way we say them that help us remember the order. Sarah has demonstrated foundational errors in this key area of understanding. Key understanding 4 would be an appropriate place to focus instruction. Key understanding 5. There are patterns in the way we write whole numbers that help us to remember their order. The samples show that Sarah needs work developing this key area of understanding. Key understanding 5 would be an appropriate place to focus instruction. Key understanding 6. Place value helps us to think of the same whole number in different ways, and this can be useful. There is evidence that Sarah needs work developing her place value understanding, but there are other issues that take priority. Sarah needs work developing key understanding 6, but we are going to focus our next steps of instruction on a different key understanding at this time. Key understanding 7. We can extend the patterns in the way we write whole numbers to write decimals. Key understanding 7 focuses on decimal place value. These tasks do not address Sarah's understanding of decimal numbers. This key understanding would not be an appropriate place to focus instruction. Key understanding 8. We can compare and order the numbers themselves. There is clear evidence that Sarah needs work ordering numbers, but her errors indicate that there are underlying issues that are causing the confusion. Sarah needs work developing key understanding 8, but we are going to focus our next steps of instruction on a different key understanding at this time. So although there is evidence that Sarah needs work in the areas of key understandings 4, 5, 6, and 8, we are choosing to begin our next steps of instruction with key understanding 4. The whole numbers are in a particular order, and there are patterns in the way we say them that help us remember the order. Learning is not entirely linear through the key understandings, but it is important to recognize when misunderstandings are occurring due to confusion about prerequisite knowledge and develop that prerequisite understanding first. Another educator might choose to focus interventions on key understanding 5. There often is not one right answer when determining next steps to instruction. So you need to use your professional judgment to interpret what the student says and does in order to identify the mathematics needed to move the student forward, and then decide on learning activities and focused questions in order to determine the best next steps of instruction for your students, just like we are doing with Sarah.